Hey, what's going on, CoinOpTV subscribers? Robert Welcome here, and in this video, I want to do a review of another Shaw Brothers classic martial arts wuxia movie. This time it's called The Bells of Death from 1968. This was included on Blu-ray on the Shout Factory Shaw Brothers Classics Collection, Volume 1. It was paired with the Jade Raksha, which I reviewed recently, which I found to be a very great film, very memorable. This video, I'm going to do things a little different. Normally what I do is I give my recap, my notes, and then I give my letter grade score at the end of the video, and I kind of like leave you hanging. But for this video, I'm going to do things a little different. I'm actually going to give you my letter grade in the beginning of the movie, and then I'm going to sort of read some of my notes and sort of defend why I've given this movie this score. And the reason why I'm going to do this is because a lot of people hold up The Bells of Death as like the standout film. They were like, oh, this is the one in the collection that's the best, the standout. Tony Raines mentioned it on one of his interviews. He's one of the critics in this thing. He was like, oh, this is the standout. My buddy Flip Taku also was like, oh, that's the best in the set. You're going to love it. Unfortunately, spoiler alert, I didn't love it, and the letter grade I'm going to give is a D+. I didn't hate it, but I give it like a below average or an average kind of wuxia martial arts movie. And I thought, you know what? Let me give the letter grade first. If all you drop off and leave this video, I'll look at the analytics and sort of see like, if I've got a minute's worth of viewing and everybody thumbs down and leaves, I'll know not to do this again. And in a future video, I'll know that. But we'll see how this goes. But let me get to my notes. We got the IMDb synopsis first here. Yueh Feng is a seemingly unremarkable woodcutter, and when his family is wiped out by psychotic marauders, Yueh undertakes extensive martial arts training at the hands of an expert swordsman and sets out to exact revenge on the evildoers. So that's a pretty good synopsis. Props there for whoever wrote that. Starring Chang Yi as Yueh Feng and Qin Pei, three villain, butcher, a family, yet the older brother, played by Chang Yi, sorry, I'm fumbling my notes here, survives and connects randomly with a swordsman master while traveling. This scene was very sort of strange and messy, just kind of like, we get like random old man with a sword fighting off some bandits, and then he like chases him down, and eventually I guess the swordsman accepts him and trains him. None of that, the training, none of that is on screen at all. I know we don't need to get montages of trainings in every movie, but I feel like we needed to get some passage of time, because suddenly, boom, we jump ahead 5 years later to our hero, who now appears to be a martial arts expert with also, I wrote down in my notes, supernatural skills. I mean, he can put out his hands and suck leaves from a tree off the tree onto his hands and then blast them at somebody so they hurt and stick to somebody's face. I'm not quite sure what style of martial arts or kung fu that is, or wuxia or whatever, but somehow it looked like supernatural things going on here. What I did like about the movie was the three villains. The three villains were very distinctive. They had very interesting features. One had a unibrow and a bald head, played by my man Ku Feng. I love that Ku Feng is in a lot of these early movies. Sometimes he just has a bit part, but great character actor. Another one has a fake chubby nose, and he moves his head kind of side by side, kind of does a quirky little thing like that. And the third carries a long bow and has kind of a missing ear, a burnt ear. That's not really explained what's going on with that. I will say this is one of the more gory films in this collection, the Shaw Brothers collection. Arms, limbs are being hacked off. Somebody's head gets sliced off. So there's potentially some pros. The villains, bloody gore, those are some pros right there. Let's get back to what I think are some of the cons, though. This hero wears a bell. There was a bracelet that his mom wore, and he wears the bracelet around like as a necklace on his chest, and it rattles every time he walks and moves. And I thought, okay, this is a clever kind of conceit, kind of idea to have in the movie, but it's going on the entire time. And I got really tired of hearing the bells jingling and chiming away. Here's what I would have done differently. I would have had the necklace under his jacket or shirt so that it wasn't apparent all the time, but it just kind of popped out when he was fighting against the villains as kind of a reminder, so he could use it kind of like as a taunt to torment them, to shake it around or rattle. That would have been a little more of something I would have stomached a little more. I was getting real tired of hearing that thing rattling along, and I'm sure the sound design people were just like, we need to put that in the whole movie, and the director was like, yes, we need that. So that's a con for me. It might be a pro for you. Cinematically, there's some strong shots, many interesting framing devices, compelling stuff going on. The score is complemented by kind of a spaghetti western feel, which was a little different. So these are kind of pros here. There's bugle music and acoustic guitar that's in the score and the soundtrack. So that was really great. Although a lot of messy, like good cinematography. The con would be some messy editing and jarring editing with stuff happening that you're just like, what? I don't get that. I kind of missed what happened there, or that was very contrived and it didn't really, make sense or something. So I would say another con about the movie here is the lead actor and the lead actresses. They're not stars. They're not like celebs. They're not like all stars. So they don't really, neither of them carries the movie at all. I think they did a fine job overall. I didn't hate them. They just both lack star power and are easily outshadowed by the three villains of the movie. So in a way, the three villains are kind of the stars of this movie. And if you go in with that mindset, I think you'll have a better appreciation for the movie overall. Pretty simple plot, and I enjoy a simple plot, but wow, this is really simple. And there was kind of a moment in the third act where they had a chance to kind of change it up, switch it up when we find out that the brother's sister who was kidnapped is still sort of alive and in a relationship with one of the villains. I thought, wow, there's going to be a moment here where like there's going to be some inner conflict, some discussion of what to do. Do I still want to kill this third guy? Is the sister going to try and convince me otherwise? Nah, they just kind of gloss over that. They kind of show her this kind of a short scene. She's involved in like the climax, but doesn't get very deep. So another knock about it is having kind of very simple plot there. The fighting choreography really doesn't stand the test of time. There's a lot of stuff with, especially in the third act there, in the fight where like this guy, the third villain's got the bow and he's like trying to aim up, and all the bad guys are just like crossing back and forth on the screen randomly, not really doing like an encircling motion to block our own villain guy's bow and arrow attack to the hero. That was kind of silly. And just the way the villain, again, big spoilers here, just the way the villain dies. He's like running away and then he decides he's gonna like jump up onto a building, and the guy throws an arrow at him and stabs him, something like that. Like that was poorly. It just seems like some of these things needed to be reshot or something. And I get that this is, 1960, late 1960s cinema, Hong Kong cinema stuff was still kind of this wuxia stuff, this martial arts stuff was still kind of new. But we've seen it done better in other movies. So, some knacks there. Basic revenge plot with a few twists to spice things up, a little melodrama, at the end. If you've seen this movie, you know what I'm talking about. I'm sorry if I've completely spoiled the movie or spoiled it from you from watching it. I do think, even though I do give this a D+, I do think it's worth watching, worth checking out. I consider it below average, but the villains in this movie are great. The score is very great. I do like some of the ideas in this movie. I just don't think a lot of them paid off. So that's my gripe with things. So looking at the Blu-ray here, James Mooj gives a commentary, and there's even some stuff that he says in this. He's like, I don't understand why this is happening. Why are people crossing the screen back and forth for no reason? This doesn't make sense here. This could have been a little better here. So James, if you ever watch this, I agree with you on some of the points you made. So that's great. We got a trailer, and that's about it on the special features. Tony Raines talked about this movie a little more extensively in one of his interviews that's on the Jade Raksha disc. So these are kind of paired together. So Tony kind of talks about that. Also, bonus, it was kind of interesting to see Sammo Hung. It was I think he had like a little bit part in this also. So that was kind of interesting. So. All right, so there you go. The Bells of Death, 1968, D+. I feel like I've crushed every subscriber. Every new subscriber for Shaw Brothers is probably going to leave some hate comments for me because I know people have said that I'm going to love this movie. It's going to be great, and I'm sorry. I was disappointed. That's what it is. I'm all done now with Shout Factory's Shaw Brothers Classics Collection Volume 1. It was a little hit or miss for me. Some of the movies really stood out. Some of them I thought were below average, but I enjoyed watching them. Now I got to jump over and start watching Volume 2 and reviewing those. So if you have requests in Volume 2, which movies you'd like me to review first, let me know. I'll try and get to those sooner than later for your requests in the comments below. If you like this video, please thumbs up and subscribe if you're new for CoinOpTV. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.